a topic that many don't want to discuss, but it is inevitable: death. But not talking about it makes the final days even more stressful, not only for you, but for loved ones as well. Sunday is a day set aside to begin that discussion. And joining us now to talk about it is Dr. Carl Sash, who specializes in geriatric and palliative care at Ascension Saint Vincent. And Dr. Sash, thank you so much for being here and talking about this really important subject that people don't realize how important it is. Many people don't. This Sunday is National Healthcare Decision Day. Explain what that is.
It's a day to try to remind people of the importance of thinking about what they would want at such a point that they can't speak for themselves, and in large part so that they don't burden their family with trying to guess what they would want.
Now, as I understand it, there's something called an advanced directive that you're encouraging folks to do. Explain what that is.
There are several different types of advanced directives. One, the most basic, is deciding who you would want to speak for you.
Yeah.
If you don't make that decision ahead of time, there are laws in Indiana that would stipulate that if you're an adult, your spouse would make the decision. If your spouse is not able, that your adult children, then your parents, then your siblings, and so forth. So there are rules, but it may be that the best person to speak for you when you're not able to speak for yourself is not the person that the rules follow. And so first and foremost is just designating a healthcare representative. That used to be expensive and cumbersome. You had to get a healthcare power of attorney.
Yeah.
Now the state has allowed that any piece of paper where you designate who that person is and two people witness it is a valid statement.
So this is a new law that just passed, as I understand, in January.
That is.
And you all at Ascension Saint Vincent have the form on your website, I believe, so that people can go there and get it, pull it down, and then fill it out. You just have, as you said, you have to have witnesses sign.
And again, that's for the healthcare representative. There are other forms for people with chronic lung disease, heart disease, some cancers, particularly people who might be in the last year of their life. They may want to work with their physician to fill out a form called a POST form, or physician order for scope of treatment.
Okay.
And that stipulates whether you would want to have CPR or be resuscitated, whether you would want IV fluids, antibiotics, whether you want more aggressive or more comfort care.
Now, as I understand it, like you just said, that this questions whether you want, like you said, further action to be taken or whether you don't want any action. How does a person decide that?
Well, they may already know it of themselves, and if they don't know, they should talk to their physicians.
Okay.
They should get their advice about what would be the chances of them pulling through if those things happened.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that a lot of people have a lot of different things to take into consideration: their age, of course, and their family situation, things like that. This is really difficult to bring up. I hear so many times that, I just don't want to talk about it, or it's so difficult I can't bring it up to my mom, it's so difficult. What suggestions do you have to folks to aid that discussion, to bring it up, and why should they?
Well, I think that first and foremost, I often start that conversation by saying, as hard as this is to talk about, it's better than not talking about it. And then the other things would be to say, I love you so much that's why I want to know what you want. Because what I often see at the hospital, I'm lucky enough to work with the palliative care nurses at Ascension Saint Vincent, is that families often struggle because they feel guilty that they're imposing what they think their mom or dad would want, or their loved one, as opposed to actually knowing what their loved one would want.
So not only does it ease you, it makes it easier for the people that you love as well.
A lot of us will do better things when it's for someone else than for ourselves. And so I think, often we have to say, okay, I don't need you to do this advanced directive for you so much. I need you to do it for your loved ones. And so that might be where daughter or son might say, hey, mom or dad, I need you to do this for me.
Okay. And again, we do have a form available on the website, the Ascension Saint Vincent website. And just for anyone sitting at home right now, if you don't have an AD in place, what happens?
If you don't have an advanced directive, the family is going to be asked by the physicians what to do. Often, the paramedics or the physicians in the emergency room are going to default to doing, quote, everything. Yeah. And often that is not in honor of a person's wishes. But if we don't know that, how are we supposed to decide? So have the conversation. And this Sunday is a perfect opportunity to say, hey, this is the day set aside. Let's talk about this. The last time I checked, nobody lives forever. Even stronger people than all of us, sooner or later their time comes. And to be in denial of that just basically puts a burden on your family that they don't need.
That's true, and I know you knew my mother, you took care of my mother, and I do know that just having this conversation, it was difficult, but having this conversation helped immensely. So I do encourage everyone to go ahead and have that conversation this Sunday if you can. If you can't, do it sometime. And the form on the Ascension Saint Vincent website will certainly help you. We'll try to link to that on our website, tristatehomepage.com.